I think everybody should do what they love for a living. I knew I was on the right path, but I had no proof that I was on the right path, rather than this inner knowing. I just feel like the luckiest person on the planet. I'm creative career coach Dallas Travers, and I do what I love. I work with artists and creative entrepreneurs to help them create a purposeful and profitable empire. I grew up in rural Washington State, and I was surrounded by people who were content, right? And who were generally happy, but no one who was like building something, right? A lot of people just seem to be satisfied, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are days when I think, wow, wouldn't that be cool to just be able to be satisfied? But for me, I always felt like there was more to it than what I was able to witness. So I had to put myself through college. I wasn't in a family where that was a possibility, and I wasn't really in a family where that was like a university education was valued. But I just knew that if I wanted to be more of myself, that I had to experience more. So I put myself through school and then found the first opportunity to move away just to get this experience. So I just was lucky enough to witness what it looked like to have a content life and realize that there was an opportunity to have a truly happy life. Straight out of college, I got a job working for a talent agency that ended up being a scam company. So as soon as I realized this, I left. Now what this company was doing was basically posing as an agency and telling actors that in order to be represented by them, they needed to get very expensive and horrible looking photos. So I was working with all of these actors, seeing them be so passionate about their art, but lack any sort of confidence or ability to trust themselves when it came to navigating the industry. So after I left this company, I bounced around in the entertainment industry for a couple of years, and over and over and over again, this is what I saw. Actors who knew exactly what it was they wanted and had no clue about how to actually take dominion over their careers so they could bring that picture to fruition. So originally, I got a loan from my sister and started a business, and the business was a marketing service for actors. So I remember when I first started my business, I got an office space, 3 offices, okay? And I hired an assistant, and I got business cards and a fancy computer, and I didn't think about the client attraction part of it, like how to actually tell people my office was open. So I had this big office, and I had this employee, and we opened for business, and then we sat there and kind of stared at each other for a month. And then I had to pay my rent, right? And I had this business loan. Pretty soon that money started to disappear, and I realized that I've got to figure out how to actually get the word out about this business, and I've built this brand backwards, right? Instead of needing an office and an assistant and a fancy logo and computers, what I needed was a client. So that realization was liberating and terrifying at the same time, because then I had to undo a lot of what I had already put in place. So I had to let this new assistant go. I finagled a smaller office space in the same building. And then I remember I locked that office door and hit the streets for a month. Every day I was out meeting actors and trying to get the word out about my business. So I had this rent to pay and this loan to pay off and no money coming in. So I then got a full-time job. So the first 3.5 years of my business, I would wake up at about 5:30 in the morning and head to my office and work at my office from 6:30 until 8:30. Then I would go to my job and work from 9 until 6. Then I'd get back in my car and get to my office by around 7 p.m. And I'd work from 7 p.m. until midnight, 1 or 2. And then I'd go home and go to bed and do the same thing. So this was about 3 years of working all the time. All the time. So I educated myself on every aspect of agents and managers in Los Angeles. And then as an actor, you could come to me, and depending on your career goals, I would handpick 30 agents or managers and put a press kit together, have this press kit delivered to these people. And it was super successful. Over the course of about 7 years, I helped more than 2,000 actors find representation. So even though it worked really well, I wasn't totally satisfied, because in the journey, I found that I was in some ways part of the problem. There's this belief that as an actor, if you're talented and you work on your craft, then people will just take care of you and somehow jobs are just gonna find you. So here I was taking care of actors and handing them off to someone who was supposed to take care of them and not really helping to empower them. So about 7 years into my business, I realized that even though on the surface it felt like I was helping and it looked like I was helping, I wasn't really creating a lasting impact. So I got my coaching certification as a life coach and started working one-on-one with actors and also teaching small and large group workshops. And you know what? I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. And what I love most about it is seeing the confidence and the transformation that occurs when a student realizes that they can accomplish what they want without having to rely on anyone else. In my work with actors, I have learned so much about building a successful business and marketing your business and branding your business from your heart rather than from your head. So over the last couple of years, I've had so much fun also mentoring other people like me. People who really feel called to serve and make a difference in the world. And though they may have an artistic mind, they don't have the processes or the linear thinking to help them build a business that can actually be profitable and meaningful at the same time. So 12 years later from the time I started my business, I now get to help other people build their own empires and help even more people. So it's talk about doing what you love, right? It's just doing what I love to help other people do what they love, and it's just a love fest. Before doing what I love, my life was about working really hard for somebody else. I worked at a restaurant, I worked at another company, which was this other woman's dream, right? But it wasn't really my dream. And I was working in order to get my needs met. It was almost like survival mode. Not quite that desperate, but pretty close. And then when I got to shift into doing what I love every single day, I just feel really blessed and free. Every decision I make, I'm reporting to me. And every product I create or every client I take on, I'm doing that because I want to, not because I have to, and not because somebody else is telling me the rules. So what a huge blessing, and I've also seen how that has bled into other areas of my life. Because I've seen that, well, in this one area of my life, I can do what I love. So why does it have to be different in other areas? I think everybody should do what they love for a living. And the reason I think that is really because that's where the biggest impact is made, right? And do I think everyone needs to change the world? No, but I think everyone can change their own world by doing what they love. So if what you love is art, find a way to be artistic in your job, right? So can you be a painter and make the kind of living that you want? I'm not sure, but can you be a creative person, right? Who uses those skills in your job as an accountant? Probably. And I think this is really important because if you're not doing what you love, you're not living, right? And if you're not living, you're dying. And there's no way for the world to really work if everyone's walking around dying inside. I really wanted to share my story because I think from the outside looking in, you might be able to look at someone like me and think that, well, of course she can do what she loves. But, when I look at my life, I grew up in a trailer park. I don't have an Ivy League education. I didn't come from money. I don't have role models. So if I can do what it is I love to do and be successful at it, I know anybody can do what it is they love to do and be successful at it. It just takes a little bit of willingness to get it wrong before you get it right.